Tonight, a mother and her 3 young children are dead after a multi-vehicle crash in Brampton.
A 37-year-old woman and her 3 daughters, ages 1, 4, and 6.
The investigation into what happened now in the hands of Ontario's police watchdog. Plus,
it's a contact tracing kind of idea. That's actually pretty genius.
I kind of like it, if it works.
a new COVID-19 contact tracing app is set to be tested in our province. And loved ones reunited after months apart. Visits resumed today at many long-term care homes. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. A mother and her 3 young daughters died this afternoon following a horrific car crash in northeast Brampton. Let's go to our Lauren Pelly. She's been at the scene near Countryside Drive and Torbram Road all evening. She joins us now live. Lauren?
Mike, there are still so many questions about what took place here earlier today. You can see this tragic scene still behind me now. This 4-car crash happened around noon, and there was actually a local police officer who spotted one of the cars involved before the collision took place. That's why the SIU has now invoked its mandate, the police watchdog taking over this investigation, trying to piece together what happened here today. It was a scene of utter horror. Inside this crumpled van, a mother and her 3 girls. None of them survived.
4 people lost their lives. A 37-year-old woman and her 3 daughters, ages 1, 4, and 6.
There were 3 other vehicles damaged in the crash, including a blue Infiniti. Its 20-year-old driver was taken to hospital with serious injuries. He is a key piece of the investigation. The Special Investigations Unit says a Peel police officer saw that car before the crash.
An officer was traveling westbound on Countryside when he observed a vehicle. As to what that means, that'll be part of our investigation.
Eyewitnesses who filmed the aftermath are heard speaking about a possible police chase.
And he took off, the police was behind him. Yeah, he was chasing him from there.
The cops were chasing
Yeah, He didn't even stop on the stop sign because I was on the opposite side standing.
Residents also say that intersection was a danger zone.
The speed limit's like 70. People are always speeding down here. It's not really this busy, so people are always just speeding down here and they're not really paying attention.
I saw too many cars speeding all the time, yeah. I'm scared when I walk with my kids on this side. Too many people, yeah.
What exactly happened today, including who hit who, remains unclear. And those questions could take a while to get answers.
It's hard to say how long any investigation will take because they all have different requirements and procedures.
Like you heard, there are so many questions still tonight. Was speed a factor? What were the steps that led up to this crash that you now see behind me? What is clear is that a mother and 3 little girls did not make it home today. Mike?
Such a tragic end. Thank you, Lauren, reporting live from Brampton tonight. And this is the scene of a fatal crash in Vaughan this evening. It happened shortly before 8 o'clock on Weston Road, just north of Steeles. A man crashed his vehicle into a building and died on the scene. Here's one witness describing what he saw.
All of a sudden we heard a bomb. It looked like a bomb. You know, we come out to the window and we saw this car flying and hit the power lights, the concrete one, and then we heard the bang across the factory. Smoke, fire in the car and a mess.
Now that witness says workers at the factory extinguished the fire. Police say there were no other injuries and no structural damage to the building. And York Regional Police are investigating after someone vandalized a statue of Pierre Elliot Trudeau in Vaughan. Police say they haven't ruled out the incident as a hate crime. You can see the statue's face was covered in black paint. Crews were cleaning it up earlier today. The life-size bronze statue sits in Pierre Elliot Trudeau Park near Clark and Bathurst. The province unveiled a new contract tracing plan for COVID-19 today, the centerpiece of which is a new smartphone app built in Ontario using technology jointly developed by Apple and Google to help safeguard your privacy. Chris Glover has the details.
A new smartphone app uses Bluetooth signals between devices to continuously log your proximity to others. If a close contact tests positive for the coronavirus, the app called COVID Alert will send you a notification to get tested too.
So it's a contact tracing kind of idea. That's actually pretty genius.
But it requires both users have the app.
I don't know why you wouldn't want to get it, but yeah, the app, I mean.
not the virus.
It'll track the spread of COVID even among complete strangers.
We need people to download this app. It's going to protect us.
Premier Doug Ford's sales pitch for the voluntary app included a startling stat. He says in Alberta, only roughly 11% signed up for something similar.
If we don't have the cooperation of the people of Ontario, we put ourselves more at risk. So it's a simple download the app, and it's 100% private. That was our number one issue right at the get-go.
Officials pledge no geotagging will be used, and the randomized data will be saved anonymously.
I kind of like it, if it works. Yeah. And if it's not dragging your battery down and spying on doing other things it's not supposed to do, right?
It's one app for all Canadians.
The Prime Minister eventually wants every Canadian using the Made in Ontario solution, and currently Google and Apple are figuring out how to make all similar global apps compatible.
That would open up travel faster, and it would ensure that compatible contact tracing apps across borders.
So what measure is used to determine whether two devices had a meaningful contact? In other jurisdictions where COVID apps are already being used, it's a distance of 2 meters or less for 10 minutes. Officials here in Ontario say that specific criteria is still being worked out. Everyone we caught on the street today said they'd download the app.
Yeah.
You're all speaking into a camera, so I mean, I guess that there's a part of that.
No, I mean it. I swear.
But there are limitations. It can only be supported on Android 6 and iPhone 6S or newer.
It is lesser than.
Oh no, you won't be able to get the app,
sir. Oh, good, but that means, oh no, not good. I'm gonna have to upgrade my phone anyway, and that's a good reason to.
Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Several police forces showing off today Ontario's largest ever seizure of fentanyl. Police seizing more than 123,000 fentanyl pills, 70 kilograms of fentanyl powder, and $20,000. This is all part of Project Javelin. It began in April when police found evidence of fentanyl tableting operation, with counterfeit pills being distributed throughout Ontario and British Columbia. It led to seizures at 5 locations, 1 in Oakville and 4 in Burlington. Police also arrested and charged 3 men from the GTA. They're expected to appear in court in September. Ontario's Education Minister is going to appoint a supervisor to oversee the Peel District Board of Education. That move requested by trustees last night as the board struggles with issues of systemic racism.
I will seek the approval of Cabinet to send in a supervisor to the board to fulfill the request of families for so long, to finally drive deep change within the culture of Peel to improve the lives of these kids, to give them hope, to give them human dignity and opportunity.
Incidents of anti-black racism have been well documented within the Peel Board. A third-party review found black students make up close to a quarter of suspensions, despite being only about 10% of the secondary school population. Well, a mother is speaking out after her son died at Central East Correctional Center in Lindsay earlier this month. She says autopsy results showed he had a large amount of heroin stored in a body cavity at the time of his death, and wonders if he'd still be alive if he'd been thoroughly searched.
Although he was afraid and had a lot of issues, he had the biggest personality in life. And every person that believes it can happen to you, it can.
26-year-old Jordan Shahir spent 3 days at Markham Stouffville Hospital for psychiatric care last month, struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. His mother worried he might be too much of a danger to himself to come home. She says a doctor suggested he might be safer in jail, where he could be monitored. Once there, he overdosed and was sent for treatment. He died shortly after he returned.
When he came back, they did have probable cause to cavity search him and to do a more in-depth search because he had now overdosed in jail. I just believe that they didn't do their job.
Markham Stouffville Hospital says it can't comment on individual cases, but go through a comprehensive discharge plan for each patient, and they don't have the authority to send a patient to jail. Ontario's Solicitor General's office says it has procedures in place at correctional facilities to detect illegal substances, including full-body scanners. Both the ministry and the coroner are now investigating. Well, for the first time in months, people are allowed to visit their loved ones living in long-term care homes. Now, there are strict rules in place to do this safely, but that didn't stop families from checking in today. Ali Chasson met up with one woman whose mother lives at one of the worst-hit homes.
I'm a little anxious because it has been 3 months.
Sherry Zielinski has been visiting her 83-year-old mother through the window at Orchard Villa. This time's going to be different. She gets to sit across from her at a table in the courtyard.
I'm a little nervous because she also is, she's got Lewy body dementia, so I'm not sure if she's going to want to go back into the room when she sees me. She won't understand when I'm out there. So we had a family discussion and we thought about it and thought, is this going to be the best for my mom?
Sherry didn't know when this day would ever come, that she would be able to see her mom in person like this. Her worst fear was that her mother wouldn't survive the COVID-19 outbreak that tore through this facility. At the height of the outbreak, 340 residents and staff had contracted COVID-19. 78 residents died. The military was called in to help, and their report found Orchard Villa had a history of staff shortages and neglect. But things have stabilized now, at least to allow Sherry to spend 30 minutes with Mom. We caught up with her after.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm like, I think I expected it to be worse. So I'm kind of, these are happy tears. She seems okay. She cognitively, she's okay, but physically looking at her, she's not the same person that I was when I saw her on March the 7th.
Not only did her mother have COVID, she fell yesterday.
She's got a long road of recovery, but definitely baby steps. We're taking baby steps.
There are strict rules for these visits. Residents can have one outdoor visit per week with one visitor who must test negative for COVID-19 within the 2 weeks leading up to the visit and pass a temperature screening upon arrival. Premier Doug Ford calls it a cautious restart.
We just can't have a flare-up with people coming in and coming out.
Today was equal parts difficult and joyous for Sherry and her mom.
She definitely didn't want to go back in there, and she wanted to get out and go walking with me. She wants to feel me and touch me. That won't be happening for a while, but that's the next step. So I promised her we'd go for ice cream.
She's hoping these visits give both of them strength to carry on. Ali Chasson, CBC News, Pickering.
Probably seen about a 25% increase in neck and back injuries just related to being in one posture, either standing or sitting at their desk at home all day.
After the break, got a stiff neck or sore back from working at home? Well, you're not alone. The simple exercises you can do to ease the pain coming up. Plus,
Well, we do have a chance to see some showers coming our way, but not likely in the city tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Colette Kennedy. I will show you exactly where. We'll also look at the weekend forecast. That's all coming up after the break.
Every year around this time, graduating high school students near Jane and Finch hold a celebratory walk to recognize their achievements. The 7th annual Walk with Excellence did go ahead today with a small in-person ceremony. Others joined in virtually to mark the occasion.
So we're here today to celebrate all of the Jane Finch graduates who are graduating 2020. And we really wanted to organize this event because graduating in our community is such an important accomplishment. I think one of the really interesting things about Jane Finch is that our community is so supportive of our young people, but we know that there's a lot of barriers in place, especially when we look at racialized young people and in communities which typically are marginalized and have additional barriers like racism, poverty, and many other factors that play into how young people can thrive. So graduating really is a form of resilience, and it really does demonstrate a huge accomplishment for our young people.
Given the current circumstances and what's happening now in the world, I'm glad that we're able to come together and celebrate each other, celebrate our graduates, celebrate our students, and just have something positive that we can definitely look back on and reflect on during this time.
Time to check in with meteorologist Colette Kennedy with the weather. So Colette, another day, another amazing forecast. You know, I could get used to this.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be getting so used to this. What are we going to do when it all changes? It is the gift that keeps on giving, and now giving us some heat warnings. Well, not for the GTA, not even for southwestern Ontario. No, these are into northern Ontario, eastern Ontario, and even further east from there through Quebec and into the Maritimes, because they're seeing temperatures 30 to 35 and humidex values towards 40. And then the overnight lows, you don't get much relief there. I mean, we know we're feeling the heat as well, plus all of the sunshine. So here we go. We are going to find the humidity gets a little more extreme as we go into the weekend as well. So it does get stickier. I've been kind of warning you about that as we've been going through the week. So our jet stream way up towards the north, pushing all the way up towards Hudson Bay. And Geraldine, look at this. Geraldine, daytime high today, 29. Moosonee, 33. Kapuskasing at 31, Windsor at 30, Montreal 33, Ottawa 32, all beating out Toronto with unofficial daytime high right around 29. So you can see the other thing that's really happening here with high pressure in place, kind of protecting us, giving us that beautiful sunshine. We did have a little bit of that high, thin cirrus cloud today, but it means all the precipitation really kind of has to go around, and that is what's been happening. Now things will start to change. We go in for a closer look because I do want to show you that tomorrow afternoon over towards the London area, pushing up in some of the higher elevations here towards the Dundalk Highlands. As we get into the afternoon, we'll see these are going to be very isolated, very highly localized, some pop-up thunderstorms and showers. So you'll get a downburst that won't last long. Not looking at severe weather here. And then with the daytime heating, once that goes away, these will be gone as well. Same thing possible into Saturday. We're not going to see this into the city or into the GTA. It's not till late on Sunday for the city. We have a chance with a weak front that's going to go through Sunday night that we could get a few showers, but it's going to be dry for the first day of summer on Saturday and Father's Day, most of Father's Day Sunday as well till late in the day. Overnight tonight, 17, your low, southwestern Ontario, feeling like 34 tomorrow. 30% chance of a shower there. I said mostly in the higher elevations, but a slim risk there into Windsor. Our lows tonight well above seasonal for the GTA. There you go tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be feeling a little more humid, but more so into the weekend. You're really going to be feeling it. It's going to be nice, and it's definitely going to be feeling like summer as it becomes summer, but it already does, doesn't it? And then a better chance, by the way, Mike, of actually getting more widespread showers. That's coming up on Tuesday.
All right. Thanks a lot, Colette.
You're welcome.
The weather is brought to you by Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. We test, so it runs. It's hard to stop a train.
Working from home has its perks: no commute, more spare time, and a whole kitchen at your disposal. But some physiotherapists are saying your home office can also cause injuries. They're seeing more aches and pains as a result of poor work-from-home setups. Taylor Simmons found a few solutions.
Look over your shoulder for me.
After working from home for the past 3 months, Figan Cordiva has felt increased pain in her neck and shoulder.
I find that I'm either
sitting on my couch, which is really low, or sitting at my kitchen island, which has no back support. And I just always catch myself with the forward lean.
She's not alone.
I'd say, for my own caseload, I've probably seen about a 25% increase in neck and back injuries just related to being in one posture, either standing or sitting at their desk at home all day. We've got your low back and your hips, your mid back extending across your shoulder blades, and then up into the neck, including headaches and that upper shoulder areas of pain. And as injuries become more chronic, whether it is neck strain from being at your laptop or your phone too long, we start to see compensations and other injuries.
There are a few ways you can make working from home more comfortable.
First, find a sturdy surface and a chair with a back. Next, add a rolled up sweater just above your hips for extra support. Grab a box or some books to get your screen to eye level. Lastly, if you can, get a separate mouse and keyboard to keep your elbows at about a 90-degree angle.
Try to get your shoulders up against the wall.
Another solution.
The simple fix, prevention and fix, is really just a few simple exercises to keep your body feeling better. Go.
Stretches like wall angels, neck tucks, and the cobra pose all require no equipment. And if all else fails, at least move around a few times a day.
Motion is lotion when it comes to the body. Okay? And the problem is when you're only getting out of bed and you're going to your kitchen to work and then going back to your couch to rest and then back to your bed to go to sleep for the night, there's not enough movement in our body. Any discomfort?
And with work from home likely part of the new normal, why not avoid these adjustments and make some of your own? Taylor Simmons, CBC News, Toronto.
Up at 12 o'clock, 22 orders.
Toronto, people are crazy about butter chicken.
After the break, we take you to the Queen West restaurant credited with inventing the butter chicken roti, a restaurant that is now shutting down after 25 years. After decades serving up what many say is the city's original butter chicken roti, the owners of Gandhi Indian cuisine on Queen West are calling it quits. Kelda Yoon has more.
Avtar Singh is cooking up his signature dish, butter chicken roti. Singh owns Gandhi Indian cuisine on Queen Street West and is credited with creating and popularizing the dish in the city.
We make from the scratch, everything fresh, everything by in the morning fresh. He cooked from the scratch.
Singh and his wife Parveen opened their roti shop in 1995. It was hard at first, they say, but then the word spread. Caleb Cooper has been coming here since he was a teenager over 15 years ago.
It was like unlike anything else you could find in the city at that time, especially over in the East End.
But after 25 years, the couple will be closing shop for good. Strain from the pandemic, one of the main reasons for their decision.
We have a hard time actually after lockdown, and we are sitting in the window and people are not coming. Food is wasting. All the main power is gone. Even our cook left the job.
Singh says one of the hardest parts will be saying goodbye to all the familiar faces.
They are crying. I am crying for those people. And the journey, I have so much, they give me love. And that's why the reason I've been staying this line so long.
Asia Sachs lives in the neighborhood. She's been going to Gandhi's for almost 2 decades.
It's a family-run business, which is another part of why we love it as a neighborhood, because there's less and less of those around.
It's heartbreaking. It's like one of the last things on this strip. This strip, as I'm sure you know, you can see it's, the vacancy rate's not so good right now.
As for the future, the owners say they haven't thought about that yet, but they're grateful for having been a part of the city for so many years.
In Toronto has one of that, your opportunity, which no one can stop you to do what would you like to do.
Gandhi's will close for good on June 30th. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
We are successful because...
And that is our newscast for tonight. Before we go, I want to tell you about a special edition of Metro Morning tomorrow. It's marking National Indigenous Peoples Day, which is happening on Sunday. But tomorrow, Metro Morning will focus on Indigenous music programmed by singer-songwriter Shawnee. She is Mohawk from the Six Nations on the Grand River. You can listen to that tomorrow morning on CBC Radio 1. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.